Family, it's your boy, Lamonte Faison, back with another episode of You versus Yourself podcast where the truth and you collide. Listen, I want to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's Karmelo Anthony. I don't necessarily want to get into the weeds of it and the details. I want to kind of focus on the initial response, and that is, according to reports, when he was in someone else's tent and then he was asked to leave. I want to focus on that. As soon as I understood that there was some tension or somebody was confronting me and I was in a tent that was not necessarily mine, even if I was invited, and there was some tension there with somebody else, that in my mind, if I'm using my second thought, that is the time to walk away and get yourself out of that situation. These are the coping skills that I'm talking about that we need, not just in adults, but also with our children. Parents, I'm not sure if you're teaching your children about second thought. I'm not sure if you're teaching your children how to use critical thinking in those times of distress when things are happening or when danger is approaching. I'm getting tired of hearing, oh, you know what, my kid is great, my kid is awesome. Yes, but when that situation comes about, how will they handle it? And that's important to me. Sometimes I do free classes. I don't get a call from too many young people. I don't get too many calls from the parents to say, Lamont, yes, let me give my kids that class. Let me get them that class. Why? Because it is extremely important for us to stay on top of our kids' performance and how they're thinking and how they're processing in life. Why do I say that? As an adult, it is my responsibility for my child. I need to know that whatever I'm instilling in my child, it's good stuff. It's good information. And as you can tell, I'm not even blaming this on their parents because I have no idea what he's been taught. But what I am saying, he was in fight or flight mode in that situation. Apparently emotionally charged. The kid could have pushed him, like they said, but it's time for me to get out that tent, especially if I'm going to resort to stabbing somebody and killing them. Because I believe what they said was this, whatever the situation was, my response or his response was disproportionate to the situation. And again, I'm not getting in the weeds of that. I'm merely talking about using our second thought. Thinking before we respond, young people. Today is not about being cool. You got to have enough in you, even when we're talking about peer pressure, you got to have enough in you to say, no, this is not a good situation for me to be in. This can go south real quick. I see people saying, well, he got 35 years. Yeah, that's a lot of time. But before there, I want to go focus more on the incident itself and what actually happened and making sure I don't take accountability away from accountability where it needs to be, where it needs to lie. Accountability is for both of those gentlemen. Both of those teams. One is dead and the other one is now incarcerated. I wish I could have had both of them in my sessions and said, hey, sir, if the reports are true, don't put your hands on somebody else because now you have triggered someone else and that person, if the reports are correct, pulls out a knife and stabs the other team. We lost two teams at one time. One is never coming back and the other one's going to be incarcerated for a long time. Are you getting help for your children? I don't care if you think they are amazing kids. Send them to an anger management class. Send them to a place where they understand how to de-escalate. This is what you do in certain areas. Call me, set up an appointment. Put them in some sessions. Let's have this conversation. It's better to get them the information now than for them to have to take an anger management after they're incarcerated. Because there are people who are court mandated to take anger management and domestic violence classes. I feel for that family who lost a son, and I feel for the other family who lost a son to incarceration. But both of those individuals, those teens could have done something different. And one teen will still be here and the other one wouldn't be incarcerated. You got to be very careful, young people. You got to be very careful, adults, when you operate, when you're emotionally charged. You need to breathe, relax, calm down. Now it's time to use my rational side of my brain. I need to use my prefrontal cortex. I need to be logical in this thing that I'm doing. You know what? Let me put my ego down. These guys want to start something under this tent. Let me go ahead and get up out of here. Don't let your pride and your ego get you caught up, because now there's no celebration. And prison is definitely not a celebration. I used to work there, I know. So again, I'm not getting into the details. I'm merely saying that young people, you got to stop. You got to think before you respond till you react to a situation, thinking about the totality of those consequences. Do not allow your friends to edge you on and you get you all hyped up. And then when it goes bad, everybody flees from you. And now you're on your own. So what's my tip today? Use your second thought. Think before you respond, before you react to a situation. Remember what I always say, being calm is cool.